guys, it is Dana Jacoviello here, founder of Bullies Keep Out. We haven't done one of these podcasts in a while, and most of you know, or maybe most of you don't know. I had a big move about a year ago from New York City to LA, and so we haven't really been doing podcasts. It's kind of been on a break. And I want to get back into it. It's just there's just been lots of things going on. It's been very busy in a lot of good ways. And, ebbs and flows like we all have in life. It's just been a bit chaotic. So I really haven't had the extra time to actually sit down and start doing our podcast again. A lot of things have been on hold. The Bullies Keep Out, but we've been doing things behind the scenes as well. I'm not sure what episode this is, so let's just say episode whatever. Today I'm going to talk about something very important and serious, but you know me, I always break it up with some type of joke or laughter because I don't like to be too serious. But, the problem is that bullying just is a very serious thing, and I'm going to do something that I haven't done since it's happened in the pandemic, is share my bullying story. And I think it's important because all I do is keep hearing people talk about this and how they've gotten bullied. I've seen my friends who are content creators on TikTok and other social platforms, and they're getting bullied. And, I moderate some of these live rooms, and that is my job is to kick the trolls out and the bullies and either mute them or kick them out of the live if they're not acting appropriate or respectful. And the amount of chaos and bullying or trolls that I see is it's disgusting. I don't really see how people have so much time on their hands when life is short and there's so many things we can be doing, and this is what they're wasting their time doing. I wish someone could give me an explanation for that, and we all can have answers for it. We can all make our own explanations. But at the end of the day, the behavior is disgusting. And I don't know, we're not teaching our kids anything anymore, or we're not educating in the schools. Somebody has to be doing it. That is what my organization does. And, I know there's a lot of other great organizations out there. And, just recently I shared something on the Instagram of Bullies Keep Out, and I shared about a 13-year-old child, baby, taking his own life. And we just do not talk about this enough. We do not talk about what bullying does to people, their mind, their mental health, their stability, their self-worth, their self-care, their self-love. It destroys them. And I don't think, everybody thinks it's so easy to just say, don't worry about it, don't look at it, ignore it, just ignore them. Sometimes that works in certain situations, but there are thousands of situations where it doesn't, because bullying happens every day, and I guarantee you, in this pandemic, bullying and suicide has probably taken more lives than COVID at this point. Somebody mentioned that, and I wouldn't doubt that those numbers are probably true. But suicide awareness and prevention intervention has been a problem for years. It's not like it's just happening with adults as well. And it's just heartbreaking every time you read about losing somebody and people talk about them for 5 minutes and then we get on with our day. I'm not saying you don't know them, but there's always things we can do. Share it, put it in our stories. We share funny things, we share jokes, we share humor, we share all these things that are really not important. But when it comes to causes and charity and advocacy, it's there's so little. Those are the things you see very little likes on, or very little sharing, or very little contributing. We could spend money on so many things that are really not important, but when it comes to donating and putting your money there, everybody is not willing to do that. It's no, I want to do this with my money. I'm not saying what to do with your money. I'm not saying, but think about it. Think about others and giving and helping. I don't care what people do with their money. Maybe this is just the way, this is my opinion, this is the way I look at it. I try to give wherever I can, and money, it's not just money, it's what I do at Bullies Keep Out, at BKO. It's raising awareness, it's spreading the word, it's getting involved in events and in hashtags, and just a retweet or just a little donation, even if it's $1, $5, whatever you're doing, or a retweet, it's something better than just sitting there doing nothing and go, well, okay, so now that I've done that, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna spend $1,000 on something that's really not important. That's more of a luxury, rather than, hey, can I put my money someplace else good? Like, for me, causes and charities, I know that we have to raise money to get certain things off the ground or make headway, but we don't always have to. Money isn't always involved in making headway either. I think raising awareness and having conversations are the most important thing that we need to be doing. That's probably the most crucial thing. Education, teaching, raising awareness, support, being there, getting programs in the school, trying to get laws passed. That's what we need to be doing. Trying to get to these apps that don't seem to give two shits about the bullies, but they'll delete somebody's account by accident who shared a piece of erotic art or who shared a piece of art that had a boob in it, or, a mother breastfeeding her child because it's considered, I don't know, pornography. I don't really know how that's considered pornography. But my point is that these apps are all about money making. So the bullying and hating, they make money off of it. They don't care. They get more and more people coming on social media. The amount of, even, okay, in the entertainment world, let's look at that. I don't even like to read through comments anymore because they're so negative. People are going after people that they don't even know, strangers, because you're a fan or you're a fan of this person. So the person you're a fan of doesn't like somebody else, or they're having a beef. So let's all go bully those people and those fans. Like, no, this is not how the world works. And I don't know who is teaching and who's sicking fans on other groups of fans or fandoms or whatever the hell you want to call it. The world is like humanity. People are losing faith in humanity because people treat people like garbage. We treat each other like garbage. Even people in our lives, family, friends. I don't even have words to say it anymore. I really don't. I don't know where all this is. I don't think, did the pandemic make it worse? Maybe it did. Maybe people went mad. I don't really, I'm not speaking from a script. I never speak from a script. I'm going off the cuff as I always do. So I'm just saying how I feel. And some people are going to have a problem with it. There's always somebody that got a problem with some shit. And there's some people that are not. And there's some people that are going to appreciate it. I'm very honest. I'm very authentic. I don't try to hide any part of myself. I never have. With people in my life and with people not in my life. There's always strangers that have something to say about judgment and opinions. Rather than looking at themselves, it's much easier to look at everybody else and point out everybody else's faults than look at your own. And then look at your own life. And because you're unhappy with your own life, you figure you'll just go and try to destroy someone else's because misery loves company. And I feel sorry for people like that. I feel sorry for anybody that's like that. I feel sorry for you guys. I feel sorry for bullies. I'm going to get into my story now. I grew up, I have a traumatic background. I grew up with abuse. I've grown up with lots of different traumas in different arenas and different types of abuses, and bad. The verbal, I have to say, was probably the most destroying. I think I'd rather have somebody punch me in the face 15 times a day than the verbal abuse, which is a form of bullying, but on a much higher level. Domestic violence, sexual assault, rape, molesting. I mean, a lot of people know that I've been through a lot of medical trauma and almost dying several times in my life and having incurable things and weird things and rare things, and I don't know. I'm like a science project. But, I'm still here, so I feel like I'm here for a reason, and I'm supposed to be here doing, maybe it's this, I work in healthcare, and I've always, since a kid, I've always loved giving and helping people, and I always felt it was never enough, and I didn't know different ways to do it, and that's how BKO was born. People have this theory of why BKO was born, and lots of different ones. Like, they believe it's associated with one show, which I don't know where people make up their own stories in their minds. And this is part of my bullying story of what bullies keep out, because my organization has gotten attacked many times of people that don't know the truth and don't know anything. Okay, people, and I keep receipts of everything, so I know everything that everybody said and that everything's done. I'm not a bad person. I'm not a vengeful person. I don't look to go out and get revenge. And then, like, people take things so misunderstanding and misconstrued when you type it, or a Twitter, or a message, or a text, or an email, and then everybody starts getting defensive and jumping down each other's throats. That's not bullying, dude. That's just friends going after each other, and that's friends having a moment. Having moments are fine, guys. Having moments, making mistakes, having a meltdown, going a little insane when something horrible happened, that's fine. Okay, bullying, I don't think people understand what it is. Everybody throws it around like it's just some whatever. Stop, because it's so serious. It's taking people's lives, man. You gotta stop just going around calling everybody bullies. Like, oh, somebody told me off. Yeah, well, maybe you deserve to get told off, or somebody put you in your place. That's not bullying you. Neither is a business debate, a business issue. I don't know. So people yell, curse at each other in the street. It's not bullying. People having a bad day. It is what it is. I think, it's why I like to do education on it. People ask me, what do I know? Well, I know a lot. If you actually do your research on people and their backgrounds and their education, but it's not about education and how many degrees or certificates I have and how much experience I have. It's about people who have been through things and they can talk about it. Because experience and personal experience and hands-on is far more important than any degree. We can sit in school and get a degree. Anybody can do that. But when you come out, do you actually know what the hell you learned? Have you used your degree? I know so many people that haven't even used their degree. They went to college, got in a lot of debt, don't use their degree. I use mine in different arenas of what I do. But I use the certificates that I've gained. I've used my classes that I've taken because they all relate to shadow work and my personal and mental health, and so does therapy, even when you go to therapy. That gives you experience. Trauma gives you experience. That is the most intense mentoring and coaching that you can give people. If I look for a mentor or a coach, or even a therapist, or if you want to go the professional route, or however you want to do it, I look for somebody who is pulling from life. From their background, from experience, from knowing, everybody's too busy listing, like, from a master's to a bachelor's and this, and I have that, and I have 27 million certificates, and okay, great, that's wonderful. I'm very big on continuing education, but that does not mean that you know more than somebody else. So, I really urge everybody to really be careful who you're listening to, who you're looking at, quotes that you're sharing, because even I'm guilty of it. Like, people, like, everybody's not a guru, guys. Everybody's a mentor and a coach these days, okay? But I pull from my life, and do I use my education? Do I use things I've learned? Absolutely. But do I sit here and talk all scientific or medical? No. Because people don't get bored with that. People don't want to hear that. I could throw statistics at you all day, but you could also go Google it yourself, which I want people to do. I want you to do work. I want you to do work and go look up things yourself. I don't want to have to tell you. I want to talk. I want to raise awareness. I don't want to sit here and read off a list of statistics. You could go see how many people committed suicide, the recent suicides from kids and babies, and you can go see adults. You can go see, God, you can look up and research so much, but nobody does research anymore. Everybody takes everybody's word for it. Somebody said something about somebody, oh, I'm not going to be friends with them because this person's brother's cousin's ex-brother-in-law, I don't even know what that means, but I'm just trying to prove a point of that people are listening to people on who should be in their lives and who you should be friends with, and going after people, really not knowing facts, but just going off of hearsay, not having any truth to anything. Now, when I speak about something, or if I call somebody out, I have proof. I have things that I've seen. Otherwise, I'm not doing that. And we act like that at Bullies Keep Out. People want us to go after people. No, we don't do that. We mediate. I look at everybody. I research everybody. I look at timelines. I look at your social media. I Google research. My team, we look into things. We don't just jump on people and take sides, because in the past, when that has happened with team members or other people, we have been wrong. And it was actually the person coming to us complaining about getting bullied that was doing the bullying or playing victim so they could get something out of one of our advocates, because we work with a lot of celebrities and celebrity advocates and people from different shows and movies, friends of mine, people that I work with. I adore them. I love them to death. We have been working with different people in different genres of the work of entertainment, teachers, lawyers, cops, and private investigators. We've been working with so many different people in different arenas that, this is what we do. This is what we do. We do cyberbullying investigating. We've worked with so many people in different arenas, and people just think, oh, well, they just work with people from one show. No. Did we start Bullies Keep Out over a show? No. We've had people from the start. We've had some people like Carly Pope, Terry Chen, Julie Gonzalo. I can name a few people that we started working with when we started working with advocates that had a platform that can get the word out further, which is why people work with people and public figures. And people always think, why do people do this? Oh, they're just using... No. There's a reason. It's like I gravitate towards people that want to do good, that have big hearts, that I see have the same passion that I do for being a humanitarian and philanthropic, mentality. Altruistic. They're not selfish. They're good people. Have I been wrong about some of them? Absolutely. Okay, I've had people bully me and my organization probably since we've started, and a lot of it was uncalled for. But we do not just jump down people's throats. We work with bullies. We're here to help everybody. There's no limitations or exclusions. I've made mistakes. We've all made mistakes, but people have to understand the difference between bullying and mistakes. Okay? And the amount of chastising and people not knowing the truth about myself, Bullies Keep Out, people that I work with, advocates from all over. I work with people from movies, big people, okay? People from shows, people from soap operas, people from commercials. I work with teachers. I work with other people. They're not in an entertainment industry, but I'm just saying those people are there to help me do things with their platform and with every organization works with people in the public eye because of their platform and what they can do that those other people in that organization can't without the help. It's everybody working as a team. Okay, so that is why it is not like where I've had volunteers and people want to volunteer in my organization because they wanted to use our organization to get closer to our public figures or think that we were going to do favors for them. And then all of a sudden they fell off the planet and they would get mad when somebody would ask them, well, why aren't you doing what you said you wanted to do? It's not bullying. It's not any of that. It's just we're asking, if you committed to something, commit to it. Whether you're volunteering or not, everybody knew that things are not paid. It's volunteering basis. But we were getting used to get closer to people. And then when they got what they wanted, whether it was a follower getting close to people, then it was garbage. We were garbage, and people weren't doing what they signed up for. Yeah, I call people out on that. Okay, because it's happened more than once. So I have a very great team, and and they're all there whenever I need them, and they're not looking for anything in return. And everybody that I've worked with to some capacity, whether it was in podcasting or whatever it was, always would say things that would make me think, you're not here for the right reasons. So I'm not doing that. And then when I would, sometimes you just find out some people aren't good people and you don't really want to be involved with them anymore. Let them be bitter. But the amount of misinformation that people have on the internet, and that's why I brought some of these things up, because the amount of misinformation and things that are wrong or things that are not what they seem when you look at a picture on the internet is astounding. It is so loud. Do not believe everything you see. Do not believe everything you hear. If my best friend told me not to be friends with somebody because she didn't like her, because she blah, 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 guess what? I'm going to be friends with that person anyway, and I'm going to make my own decision on that person. And my best friend's going to have to deal with it. Or a family member's going to have to deal with it. Because I do not listen to hearsay from other people of whatever fight you two had. That means that I can't be friends with you. No. Unless the person's a bully and I have some proof showing actual real bullying, not stupid shit like fighting with somebody or cursing someone out because they said or did something. Unless somebody shows me proof of something, I'm giving that person a chance and finding out for myself. Because you never know that somebody's telling you that somebody's not good or somebody's this and that because they just had a fight with them or they decided they didn't want to be friends with them anymore, so now they're bitter and they're looking to be vengeful. That's bullshit. That's ridiculous. And if you engage in that behavior, you're ridiculous. Now, I've had people do that, and yes, have I defended myself and did it right back? Yeah, absolutely. Because I'm not going to sit there. Look, I am a fighter. I have been fighting since I was a child. I do not know how to not fight. So when people tell me to just ignore it or not go looking for it, to me, you're saying it's my fault. You're blaming me for getting bullied. I'm not looking for anything. Bullies, I don't think people understand. Do you understand the extent that bullies have to find people in different ways and make you think that here's a nice message, oh, by the way, then you open it and it's horrendous. Or they're doxing you, or they're getting burner accounts. People do not understand. They're stalking you. I've had people find out my address. I've had people use my niece in a picture with a public figure that we had saying that coronavirus starts here. And I had to get her mother involved. And then I had to be afraid that they were going to get bullied and I had to protect them. And luckily, the bully didn't say a word, knowing better, I think, because you used a child and you used my niece. The things that have happened in my story, almost nobody knows because I've never told the full extent of it. Okay, guys, look, the pandemic threw a lot of us into a wall. Okay, I never knew how to self-care, how to self-love. I was always bad at it. And I'm still working on it. I'm not good at it. I'm the person that's on fire in the back, helping people and doing everything I can while I'm on fire. And I don't care that I'm on fire and that I'm burnt and slowly dying in the back. I'm just worried about what can I do to help you. And I don't even have to know you. But I'm done doing that because all it has done is bite me in the ass. Am I done having a big heart and being a good person and giving and helping? Absolutely not. Do I have any more room for people sometimes in my head? No, I don't. I don't have any more room for people's. Like, I saw about a sports, and this is what prompted me to want to do this too. I've been wanting to, but it prompted me to just sit down and get it done, was that I saw a sports figure, and he started crying, and it was on TikTok, and he said that he has been looking for good people for so long because people are so used to using people in the public eye. Whether it's sports or movies or TV or whatever it is, so many people want. Fix my problems. Be there for me. Do this, do that. I want this from you. Money, this, that. They're just picking them apart because of what they do, or because of money, or whatever it is, or because their status or power. That's not why you have people in your life, man. I felt that because people have used me for who I know, or who I'm friends with, or who I work with, outside of my job in healthcare and my career and other things that I do. Because I do a lot of different things that people may or may not know of. I don't have to announce every good deed that I do or every move that I make. I used to love social media and be on it a lot. Now I'm barely on it except for my social media work, for charity, for causes, for BKO, and for podcasting and other things that I do with other people and collaborations. But otherwise, I have no desire to even be on it anymore because it has become like a dumpster fire. Hell on wheels, tire fire, whatever you want to call it, just shit. And so many people going after strangers and people that they don't know, whether the public eye or not, it's still people are just going after people. And when he said that, and he said like he just had nothing left to give people, he had nothing left, like he just was done. I felt that because I've been there. I might still sometimes be a little bit there, like, I just want to be by myself. Or I just want to go do this by myself. Because you get to a point where you just are so tired of the bullshit and the fakeness and the non-authentic people and personalities. And people just, wanting to use you to make them feel good, or to whatever extent that they use you, and then they just throw you away like you're some piece of trash. And I get people who feel like that, man. I get it. I felt like that most of my life. I've had hard times trusting, especially relationships with women, because your first relationship is supposed to be with your mom. And that's, if you look it up, that is what sets you off for the rest of your relationships, especially women. So of course mine just have been, they've just been, a mess on and off. But if it wasn't for some people that came into my life when I was 16 years old, I don't even know if I'd be here. And something that I've never spoken about, that's actually in the book that I know a lot of people bought and then I gave to some people. There's things that I've talked about that nobody has ever known that I talked about when I talked about suicide and suicidal ideation. I've been dealing with that since I was a child. Do you know how many times that has gone through my head? Sometimes I wish the first time I really got sick and I almost died that I did. Sometimes I wish that I never existed or that I was never here. Because the pain just over the years and the anger and all these feelings and emotions of just mostly pain, you just get tired. Your brain is exhausted, your body is exhausted, and everything is falling apart. Everything is getting sick. Everything is just dying. And, I have a very strong faith in God, and I had certain people that He put into my life that taught me how to be affectionate. Because I didn't get a lot of that. And I felt like I would be taking down my wall if I showed that. Love, I didn't know how to receive it. I took what I deserved. Or thought I deserved. I didn't know how to give it. These people taught me these things. And now I joke with them and say I want to kick their ass because they made me love and care too much. Not that I never did, it was just inside of me. I had this shell of an exterior, this tough New York Italian girl. Dana's big, she's strong, she's muscular, you can't mess with her. People thought I was intimidating. You know what? I'm a fucking warrior, yeah. But I was so afraid to admit that I might be sensitive and that I can't take everything, and that I wanted to just sometimes sit and just let my heart break, have somebody hold me and cry for hours. I have never done that. I always tell people I don't cry. I would get hurt in sports. I would have injury. You could punch me in the face and I wouldn't shed a tear, except behind closed doors. The only time I think it would just slip out was in front of certain people or when I was drinking. Because I was drinking for the wrong reasons. I was doing it because of stress and depression and anger and trying to feel better for those moments. And then the next day I would feel like hell and I'd feel worse. And everything would just come back tenfold. That is not the answer to help anything. So please don't do that. I'm speaking from experience. If you want to have a drink because you want to enjoy it and you're happy or you're celebrating or for a good reason. If you're not in the right mindset, drinking is never good. Nothing is good in having a bad mindset or a sad one or a depressed one. So in this pandemic, I had let so many things piled up that was happening and then I lost my heart, which was Bella, my dog, my angel in a dog suit, I always say, my human in a dog suit, I always say. After that happened, I kind of just smashed into a wall because everything had piled up. And Dana I never took care of myself. And I'm not made to be. I'm social. I'm an extrovert. I'm a hugger now. I want to be around people. I can't be in a room by myself. And I spent 2 years doing that. I had to go back to therapy. I had to go back on medications. I stopped drinking because if I didn't, I would have just sat in my room and probably been drunk every day. And then probably in the hospital. And I was throughout in the pandemic, in urgent care, doctors, hospital, lots of different scares. I always have them on and off throughout my life. But let me tell you something. I hit such a wall that I didn't know how to balance myself out without going back to therapy and to actually starting to take care of myself and talking about things and needing to go back on the medication that I took myself off years ago. And I should have went off it years ago because I don't think I was ready, but I was just tired of feeling somewhat like a zombie or kind of being out of it, or just, I don't know, not caring. I'm not a person that doesn't care. I'm just, you get to the point where you want to not. Like, I've gotten to those points where I just want to not care. I just don't. I could say, I don't give a shit. We could all say that. We could post quotes as much as we want on all the things that we post. We all know that it is crap. A lot of the stuff that we post is in the mood, in the moment, and is a lot of things that we just want people to see, what we want to show them, but they have no idea what's behind the doors. All you know is you see a post. You see what we want to show you. Okay, I got cyberbullied for 1.5 years over protecting and defending 2 people that I cared about, that I know were not guilty of what they were being bullied for and accused of, and I said something, and apparently that made me hated in a certain group on the internet of people that thought it was okay to just cyber attack in the worst ways. Can I tell you that made me spiral? I spiraled to the point where I went back to that little kid that was angry and mad and lost. I was angry, I was mad, I was lost. I wanted to defend and protect people that I care about and that I love, but I also wanted to stand up for myself because I've always been a fighter. And I felt silenced for years because if I said something, nobody believed me, or I would get in trouble for saying something. And I just was tired of it. I don't know how to just, some people are survivors. Some people can ignore it, and some people can block and do this and that. I can do that, but I also need to stand up and speak out, because if we don't, we continue to let it happen. Read that book by my friend Jen Sade. She's an author. She's a part of BKO, an advocate. She's a guest writer. And I spoke about a very dark moment before I moved back home to New York after I got divorced that nobody knew about. And not even my ex knew about. And I told that person everything about me. They know everything about me. They're probably one of the only people on earth that know everything about me, besides one other person. And they didn't even know this. And I spoke about it because I needed to get it out. There's only so much you can hold things in. I've never spoke about suicide because I figured people would see me as weak, or suicidal ideation, or being hurt by people, because it makes me look weak. And I was brought up not to be weak and not to let people see that you're weak or sensitive. But guess what? That bullying made me realize, not that I'm weak. Like I said, I'm a warrior and I'm strong, but it made me realize that I am more sensitive than I let people believe. Those words and the things people said and did, and the stuff that they sent, and the lengths that they went to, destroyed me. Mentally, I was ready to just run off a cliff. I didn't even know I was so filled with that anger from my abuse in the past that I was like, I'm not letting this happen again without doing something about it. Because now I can. And did it make it worse? Oh, it very well might have in certain aspects. But did I feel good about standing up to bullies? Listening to all the bullshit and lies that they made up, and everybody going, I have a story. Oh, people that I knew that I actually did things for, that I helped. Some of them very recent. People that I actually tried to be friends with, but realized sometimes people aren't good people, or they did things that were over the line for me too many times. I give chances, absolutely, tons. Now I'm at a point where, man, you'll get a chance, but maybe 1, maybe 2, and then I'm done. Because I'm at a point where if you make me feel too much, like if I feel you're abusive, And I'm sure everybody always says, I didn't do this and this. I don't want, whatever. Everyone's going to have their stories. There's always one side to the story, and then there's and then the other side, and then there's the truth in the middle. Okay? I always try to take as much accountability as I can for my actions and what I do and things that I say. Because I'm never going to deny anything that I said or did because there wasn't anything wrong with it. Because it wasn't bullying. It wasn't anything. It was dealing with people's nonsense and people using me and bullshit, or people taking things the wrong way and then having a fight over it, or people go obsessing about something and I helped them with it for months, and then when I had a legit issue that I was concerned about, look, people with anxiety, PTSD, and depression and panic, we worry about every little thing. We think the world hates us every 5 minutes. Sometimes we think, "Oh, you mad? Are you mad? Did I do something? Are we okay?" And when we get into those spirals, it bleeds on people. And I've done that. And I did it in the pandemic, and I did it for a while on and off, and I kept getting back into that mode. And that came from the bullying. I told you, I went backwards. I went back to that unhealed version of myself, all the years that I worked to get healed. And I'm still not, and I still wasn't fully healed because it's a lifelong job. It's lifelong work. It's not okay, all that giant years of trauma, that's all good now. No, that's not how it works. It's just something that you keep working on. The suicidal ideation, it's something that's like a knob that goes on and off. I could be happy, I could have everything I want, and I could still have thoughts because I suffer from issues with my mental health, PTSD, depression, and all that stuff came from trauma. You don't just wake up with it one day. And some people, it doesn't mean I'm weak. It doesn't mean, there's just only so much that our minds can take, that to the point where those things are created and that it happens. And you get, I don't want to use the word inherit, because sometimes mental health is absolutely inherited. And sometimes it's not. And sometimes we get it from things happening and trauma, and sometimes it's chemicals in our brain, and, but I've lived my life with it, and I am who I am, and sometimes people want to say people are too much. Nobody's too much. We're all too much. Nobody's too much, and we're all too much. And you know why I say that? Because we all are too much at some point in our lives. At some point in our lives, we're constantly defending ourselves for something we said or did so people don't think we're horrible. Every single one of us has been there, and if you say you haven't, I don't even want to hear it because it's bullshit. Okay? And, that cyberbullying, all because I would do it again, because those people didn't do anything wrong. And I don't think it's right to chastise and bully people. And did it get me in a... did it set off a cyberbullying that I would never think I would experience in my life? Absolutely. But I don't regret it, and I would do it again, and I would go through it again. Because I stand up for the people that I care about and that I love, especially people that are innocent in something that they're being accused of. And I know for a fact because I was there. I watched it. I listened. I heard it. So I know it was a lie. So people think whatever they want to think, and then they run with it, and then they get everybody on board with it. Do you actually... And the amount of people that get on board with things on social media, none of them have done research. None of them even know what the words that they're using mean. We throw around so many words that nobody knows what the hell they mean, and they're using them in the most incorrect way. And I'm not going to give examples of the words. All I'm saying is words that are used in today's society are thrown around so incorrectly and inappropriately and are overused in the incorrect areas at times and towards the wrong people is disgusting. It is disgusting. And the fact that we're all conforming to this bullshit is nonsense. And it's very, very sad. It's very, very sad. I've never been through, all I did was have, flashback moments and flashback trauma, and I didn't even know what to do with myself. I really didn't, because the outlets that I once used, I stopped using. Because it was unhealthy for me to use those outlets to get everything out. And there's still an outlet that I use that nobody knows about. Here's the thing that's a point of me sharing this story, because it almost killed me. And I want people to understand that if I can get there, you can get there. I have dealt with so many things in my life, just like all of you. Nobody's story is better, worse than another. It's all important. I have dealt with so much stuff that I feel like I've walked through so many storms that I'm just like, it's why I say I would do it again. Would it kill me next time? I don't know. But it's like, would I jump in front of a bus for somebody if we were walking and they were going to get hit and I would jump in front of a bus to try to stop it? Or even a stranger? Yes, because I'm that type of impulse person that would do that. That would give my life for another. So would I go back and do something over again that almost could have killed me? Yes, I would. Because it's about morals and values and standards. And about the fact that when I care and I love, I do it in a big way. I jump in with both feet, and I treat those people. Everybody that comes into my life is important. But we all have different levels of friendship, and we all have different wants and needs, and we all have different of how much we could be there for people. And I've grew up never wanting to be a burden, and still don't, but there were times that I finally let go and let people in and shared me, and I still feel like it bit me in the ass. Because then I become too much, and people become too much. And then when you spiral, you bleed on people, and it's not the people that they didn't do anything, but the part of you is angry at them for like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you that? Or why did you? And you might be right, and I might be right about what I'm thinking, but you also have to realize that not everybody is you. Not everybody has your heart. Not everybody responds the same way, and some of us are stretched so thin that there's only so much until we get back to a good place that we could extend ourselves more to other people in our lives that we might want to. And you can't be mad at people in your life for that. You can't be mad for them needing space or needing to self-care. I've secluded myself a lot, except for my Ohana and some very, very closest friends of mine in my life. I'm a very social person, but I have spread myself so thin over so many years. And I'll tell you what, that year and a half took so much out of me that I'm still trying to recover from it. And now I'm back on a healing journey from that. Guys, but let me tell you something. Whether it's online or offline, bullying is such an epidemic. It is so serious to the point that it is hurting people in such a bad way that it is making them take their own lives. It broke my heart when I watched that mother talk about her son and cry about her son and his classmates and his siblings, because the first day of school he went back and got bullied so much that he couldn't take it, that he thought it'd be easier to not be here. That is what bullying is. That is what bullying does. Please do not tell someone to ignore that. Because by ignoring that, we're enabling the abuse, we're enabling the bullies, we're okaying it by not speaking out and standing up. And some people can't, and I get that, and I'm cool with that. But do other things. I am okay with sometimes being able to ignore it. It sometimes works, but so many situations it doesn't. So please understand that. Be careful what you say and how you say it to people that are going through something that you might have been through as well, or in a form of bullying, but you weren't to the extent that someone else was, or there's something else that happened, or something else that happened in their life that triggered them to respond and act the way they did that maybe you would not have. Because we can sit there and give advice and mentor and coach and tell people all these things, but we are not those people. We are not in their shoes. It is not the same thing. And until you have put your feet in their shoes and have walked in that path, you cannot speak for it. You can support, you can listen, you can be there. You don't have to be their therapist. We cannot be each other's therapists. We have to stop expecting so much from people that cannot only have so much to give because they want to be able to be there for as many people. You are not a bad person. You are not a bad friend if you cannot put yourself mentally in a bad place and physically because you have so much going on around you already. Just tell that person you love them. Tell them the person that you're going to pray for them, that you support them, and you have their back. But do it in some form to where they actually know it or say it. Because and the people that suffer from mental health things such as I have, and that have gone through bullying and have abuse and trauma and all these things in their background, we're all in the same boat in some form or fashion of these things. But it's so careful on how we have to be so careful on how we speak to each other. We have to just love, man. We keep talking about grace and kindness and forgiveness. Let people make mistakes. Let people fall apart. Let people spiral. And then throw it on, and then say, okay, we're good, or talk about it. Don't make people feel ghosted. Don't make people feel like you just stopped caring and loving them, or that you shit on them. And I can't tell you how many times I've felt that way. And whether it was something that's just in our heads or something that, a behavior that was done that gave a reason for somebody to think that, we're all trying to make it, man. We're all struggling. We are all just trying to keep afloat and keep our heads above water. Life is so weird right now. Life is not the same before it was 2 to 3 years ago. Some of us lost so many people. And then some of us just have broken hearts for other people who have lost other people. And the amount of death and sickness and illness and mental health and our things that are falling apart in our world are just getting worse. It is so hard to deal with, to see that our minds are just kind of taking over. And we're all just trying to get better from it. And we're all just doing the best we can. So just love people through it. Tell them it's okay to make a mistake. Tell them that, you don't have to be a therapist. You could just say, look, I can't be there for you now, but I support you. I've had to start saying that. Because I just can't be there for everybody anymore and do for everybody and not take care of myself anymore. I'm getting older. I'm going to be 44 years old. Man, I can't do that anymore. Mentally and physically, I am not capable of doing this anymore because I don't have it in me, I don't think. I don't think that I have it in me. I probably do. But I feel so mentally exhausted and physically tired and have other things and struggles going on, and also many good things, that I just at this point have to say I don't know. I have to put myself first at some point in my life, and I've never done that. But then when you do, people start to think that you're horrible, or you're mean, or they throw the word bully around, or they judge you for it. And they judge you for moments of anger, which you have every right to be, and it's okay. It's like if you lose somebody that's very important to you and very close to you, it's okay to lose your mind for a little while. Know that that's okay, and don't let anybody else tell you that it's not okay, because that's when you'll find out who the real people are, man. And when I real people, I don't mean that, you just kick everybody to the curb that can't be there for you. Nah, man, because if people have other things that they're going through, you have to understand that. I'm talking about the people that will tell you that, though. The people that just disappear or just, are mean or just give you signs that they don't care without telling you, like, hey, I wish I could be there for you, but I can't. Or, I got you, I love you, well, I'll talk soon, or when I can, or when I have time, or we'll get together when I have time. But when you don't communicate, people just, especially people like me, our minds create like a whole telenovela. We have a whole story created that didn't even happen yet. Trust me on that. That's why I'm a good writer. That's why I'm a good writer and I come up with good stuff and good stories, because I create a whole drama that didn't even happen, but I'm thinking in my head that it did. I'm thinking that everything I said was wrong, that I do something wrong. Does this person hate me? Blah, blah, blah. And there's legit reasons for it sometimes, because in what I do, I'm very big about being professional and integrity. And when I have to worry about bullies telling lies and stories, or people that I know that are bitter or revengeful or whatever it may be, when I worry about those things, they're legit reasons for me to think these things. I'm not pulling them from the sky. It's not obsessing. People obsess over things and people that they don't know and strangers and public figures. We have this unhealthy obsession with public figures now, where people think like they're in their lives and that they're part of their lives and that's all they do when they talk about, and it's not the same thing. There's very unhealthy obsession with strangers these days, to the point of whether you're bullying them or giving a judgment or opinion, or you're just so obsessed with them that you're making your entire life about them and you're putting them before your friends and family. You're bullying them. You're putting them on pedestals. You have expectations that they cannot meet. You're expecting them. Then when they do something you don't like, you're going after them. You're chastising them. You're bullying them. You're hating on them. You're hating on people they know, their friends, their family. You're bullying people they know, their friends and their family. You're bullying other fans. You're doing this and that. In that world, that world is a mess, okay? That world is a mess, okay? And then you also have the people who are not in the public eye, and then you have those things going on. So it's like, it's all just one big mess. But everybody needs to stop obsessing over people that they don't know, okay, in any capacity. And when you don't know other people's relationships, stay the hell out of the business. Stay out of people's business that you don't know. It is not your business. We all deserve privacy. And the reason why I'm saying this part is because I work with a lot of people that I've seen go through this. So I'm going to speak out for them, including myself. There's a point of obsession that just kind of goes beyond, especially when it's based off of nothing. Like when I worry about things, and I've worried about things in the past that people know, that want to make up shit in their own minds or say, or that people do when they bully. Like, I worry about things that are actually legit, like, or something that happened, or I'm worrying about somebody again that's going to make up something, or lies, or, when you sometimes shift from people, they make up a whole fucking story that's not even true, and then you worry about that. Like, I'm pulling it from real things. Okay, but there's people out there that are just obsessing and pulling, like, or just getting things from the air, or obsessing over nothing. And I'm not making excuses, but people are just so often throwing accusations and saying things, and you don't know these people. The people that bullied me for a year and a half don't know a damn thing about me. And the people that did know a little about me, the little bit I gave them when helping them, or they wanted something from me, or they needed something from me, or when they got things they wanted, or do this, do that, can you share this, can you help it? And when they wanted things, I was the best person in the world. Then when I stopped, and when they didn't get what they want, that's when I became some piece of shit, or a bully, or whatever it is that people wanted to make up in their heads, and whatever stories. Guess what? Again, I have every conversation, every receipt, and I have no problem saying that a lot of the shit that was done and said wasn't even true. Not even close. Or they misconstrued it, or they wrapped it in bullshit and sold it to other people. Okay, that impacts people's reputations, their integrity, and professionalism when they work with people. And you know what? I'm friends with the majority of the people that I work with. So they know and they trust me. They're not going to trust some stranger. But at the end of the day, the way that I am in the mind fucking that people do, and the brainwashing that I got as a child and up until older, and all these things that triggered me to explode in different arenas, okay? And I'm not going to say sorry for cursing, because BKO is for all ages and everybody, and even advocates. We've all cursed on interviews and podcasts, and you know what it is? We've all heard the word. Some of you parents let your kids on social media at like 12, and they shouldn't be on, and you got 13 and 14-year-olds bullying adults and people, and then crying wolf and saying, well, I'm just a teenager and I'm just a kid, or this person bullied a kid. Guess what? The moment you put your ass on social media, or your parents allow you to be on social media unsupervised, and you're bullying and hating or getting yourself in trouble, you do not get to pull that card. You have thrown that card out of your deck. You no longer get to pull it. So when you get called out or somebody defends themselves and you want to cry about you're just a kid, nah, man, you don't get to use that against somebody. Go be a kid and stop playing on the internet and the computer, or monitor it, or have your parents watch what you're doing and saying, because half of them probably don't even know what you're doing. And the behavior that because I've seen some shitty behavior from a lot of younger generations. And I don't know if what is going on, but I could tell you in my generation, we didn't act like that. I mean, sure, some people did. But I'm just saying, we didn't have social media to go and attack and destroy people, so our parents knew what we were doing. Whether they were good parents or not, parents knew what their kids were doing, because we didn't have get to be a big person behind a keyboard and pretend that, oh, I'm going to go shit on somebody under this name and then go love them under another name, or talk about somebody under this and they don't follow me so they won't know, or blah, 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 and all these, you think you're secretive and you think people don't know who you are and you think that nobody knows things and is not repeating things. Everybody's stabbing people in the back and talking behind people's back and talking shit. This is the world that we live in nowadays. Let's try to fix that and better that. All truth always comes out eventually. I have nothing to hide because I save everything. So everything that I saw that I know of who the people were that were saying shit, I knew was bullshit. And some of it actually made me laugh, because I was like, where did you even get any of this? I don't even know you. We've never even spoken. That's my favorite. We've never even spoken. And the few people that I had little conversations with through DMs apparently think that they know me, because somebody else had a story, and somebody else had a story that they twisted how they wanted, or they said, here's a piece of a text, and then they told the story, and then here's another piece of a text, and then everybody's just reading it how they want and not how it's actually meant to be. Let me tell you something, the amount of obsessive people that I met that call other people obsessive, or stalkers, or this whole thing that everybody's always out there throwing those words around, y'all need to look in the mirror and how your behavior is, because you're pulling yours from the air. All right? And this is what this bullying that people are doing and how it started and the people that it involved, I don't even have words for it anymore, because the fact that it turned people off to social media, it made people want nothing to do with it. It created distance. It created lies and abuse and just horrific behavior. But my favorite was the ones who wanted to cry all these things that were inappropriately told or said or that weren't true. And also they wanted to cry wolf and play the kid card while they were on there for years being shitty to people. You don't get to play that card. And know that with me, you will not get to play that card. That's like saying if you're a parent, your kid gets to get away with murder because they're your kid and because they're a kid. No, that's not how life works. You don't get to get away with stuff because you're a kid. You don't get to be horrible. You don't get to make somebody take their life from bullying and then get to play the kid card. And that's what kids do these days. And the kids in the schools, they're all responsible, the ones who were involved, for somebody taking their life or not being here anymore. That, in my opinion, should be a crime. That somebody is gone because you decided to bully them as a child yourself or an adult. You think because we're an adult or I'm an adult that it's easier to deal with and it's okay and it's better? No, it didn't make it any easier for me. Didn't make it any easier because I'm 43 years old and I'm not 12, because I went back to that little girl. that didn't want to live anymore and didn't care what happened to her, but at the same time questioned and feared death when I was almost dying from other medical things that were happening throughout my life. But then at the same time begging God to just take me. I'm done. Just take me home. I just can't do this anymore. I can't. My heart cannot take any more breaking. And then I put up walls. And those walls got me in trouble because then I was angry. Because I'm a big-hearted person. So when my walls are up and I put that cocoon around it, then I'm angry. And I'm angry now sometimes. Because sometimes I'm angry because of what I see. What I'm seeing. What I'm hearing. What people come to me about every day. Every time I read an article or watch a video or see a baby that took their life, and adults, because I'm not caring about their lives, but babies, their lives didn't even get to start, and they're done. Their lives didn't even get to begin, and they're over. But the bullies are still here. And are we saying that we should exchange someone's life for another? Absolutely not. They need consequences, but they also need rehabilitation. Bullies need rehabilitation. And until we start doing that and there's no consequences and we're not helping them see what they did, this is going to continue to happen and it's going to get worse and we're only going to create more and more bullies because it is getting worse. It is not getting better. And I had to pull myself from being already over the cliff and just not have hitting and making that splash. I had to pull myself back over the ledge, back on to my path after I went through a year and a half of that bullying. And hacking my accounts and then texting me and calling me and emailing me and all the things that were going on. I beg you to really, really let what I'm saying and listen to this podcast soak in. And really, really think before you speak and think about how you behave and think about your actions and don't think that you're standing up for some cause or people, or don't think that you're doing something that's okay, because bullying is not okay because you think you're standing up for a cause. Because you're not standing up for shit, because guess what? A lot of the things that people are trying to fight for make no sense. It's not even fighting for anything. I've seen the timelines of people trying to use that excuse. And it's bullshit. I have screenshots that could create a novel. Emails, DMs, text messages. Please. Ain't nobody got nothing on me. Trust me. I wish you all peace, love, and light. I have been talking for an hour. I send everybody hugs and blessings. I probably will do another one on this, but I needed to get it out.